In every crowded room, there's that one person who seems wrapped in a cozy blanket of contemplation while everyone else is buzzing around like bees. They're not being rude, they're just savoring the intricacies of existence. It's as if they've tuned in to an internal soundtrack that no one else can hear. When they do speak, every word is a carefully calculated gem, pulled from the depths of their mind where thoughts swirl and dance like leaves in a gentle breeze. These deep thinkers have the uncanny ability to transform mundane moments into sprawling sagas in their minds. While others endure a boring presentation, they might muse about the interplay of light on the conference table or the subtext in a banal email. Each observation becomes a thread in an elaborate tapestry of ideas that can stretch into galaxies. If you spot one of these existential explorers lost in thought, gently bringing them back to reality takes a bit of finesse, like coaxing a cat out from under the couch. But don't mistake their stillness for indifference. Oh no, they're simply swimming in a sea of reflections, diving beneath the waves of small talk that everyone else clings to. When they're silent, it's not because they don't care. It's because they're processing the fabric of every conversation. Their minds are like giant sticky notes, gathering all those meaningful tidbits that build a rich understanding of our chaotic human experience. Hey everyone, welcome to Psychologist Jeep, the quiet little corner of the internet for overthinkers, silent observers, deep thinkers, and people who have exactly 3 friends but endless conversations in their heads. Before we dive in, take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who probably thinks too much too, and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. It's always amazing to see how far our thoughtful chaos travels. Here, we peel back the layers of the human mind, one awkward, beautiful thought at a time. This isn't about fixing anyone. It's about finding comfort in the mess, laughing at the absurdity of being human, and realizing you're not the only one who rewinds every conversation before bed. We believe that deep thinking isn't a flaw. It's a superpower disguised as anxiety. It's what makes you question, feel, and connect in ways most people rush past. Psychologist Jeep is a space for those who see too much, feel too deeply, and still choose to understand rather than escape. So if you've ever felt like a background character in your own story, or the only person in the room who notices the small, strange beauty of things, welcome home. You belong here, among people who think too much, care too much, and find meaning in everything. Let's explore the human mind together, one weird, thoughtful, and wonderfully tangled idea at a time. This unique worldview comes with its perks and quirks. Deep thinkers often find themselves perched on the sidelines of lively discussions, waiting for the right moment to wade into the current. By the time they're ready to make their move, often they discover the conversation has already cascaded off in a different direction, leaving them adrift. This isn't apathy, it's a craving for depth that many fail to appreciate. They desire exchanges that burrow beneath the surface, exploring fears and aspirations with the passion of an archaeologist uncovering ancient secrets. You might think that high-trait introspection is all Zen-like tranquility, but it occasionally devolves into an unending loop of overthinking. They replay social interactions like the latest blockbuster in their minds, mulling over phrases of what was said and what could have been. The slightest nuance becomes a riddle waiting to be solved. Were they too blunt? Did that offhand remark sting? Their thoughts spiral as they delve into multiple interpretations that could rival a plot twist in a soap opera. Still, these reflections aren't born from insecurity but from an acute awareness of the world's complexity. To a deep thinker, everything radiates meaning. An awkward pause can bloom into a garden of implications. Choices ripple outward like stones dropping into pond, sending waves of possibilities in every direction. Capturing these intricacies often becomes a delightful obsession, but it can also feel akin to herding cats as they chase every elusive thought before it darts away. As they navigate this intricate maze of emotions and ideas, it can make them feel isolated. Watching others thrive in casual banter feels like they're on another planet. They're not seeking therapy or rewriting scenes in their head for kicks. They're craving that gratifying aha moment that wraps everything in a delightful bow. And so, while deep thinkers may seem lost in a reverie, they're firmly in pursuit of understanding, the radiant treasure hiding within the multitudes of human experience. Deep thinkers are on a relentless quest for truth. With an impressive skill called metacognition, they're like mental detectives, constantly scrutinizing their own thoughts. While most people might dip their toes in this reflective pool, deep thinkers dive in head first. It's not just about asking what they want. Nope, they're on to more complex inquiries. Their minds whirl with questions about the very nature of desire, exploring root causes like a philosopher hunting for answers in an ancient manuscript. These cerebral adventurers often appear serene, yet their emotions bubble like a hidden volcano. You might catch them strolling alone in a park with headphones nestled in their ears. This isn't a sign of loneliness, it's just them embracing solitude. It speaks to their need for space, a necessary sanctuary where they can sift through the tangled webs of thoughts swirling in their minds. Despite giving off a cool, calm exterior, inside, they can feel like a rush of stormy winds ready to transform into a whirlwind of thoughts. Picture them in a bustling cafe, seemingly staring into the abyss. What's happening behind those eyes isn't boredom but deep analysis. They might be replaying a cringy moment from 10 years before, dissecting every word and gesture. It sounds exhausting, but it's more like crafting a map of their vast inner landscape. They work hard to associate certain emotions with memories, digging through layers of self-discovery, all while grappling with the question, who am I, really? Now, let's talk about existential thinking, the bread and butter of deep contemplation. While typical overthinkers get caught up in tomorrow's worries, deep thinkers ponder life's bigger enigmas, from time to morality. This fascination with the abstract sets them apart, making their thought processes akin to intriguing philosophical labyrinths. It's a magnified curiosity that nudges them towards awareness, edging away from mere anxiety into the realm of profound insight. But this journey into the depths isn't all rainbows and butterflies. The very mind that knows how to dissect patterns can also fashion illusions faster than a magician's act. When you connect the dots too vigorously, you might find yourself imagining meaning where there is none. A casual silence can transform into a convoluted riddle, and a straightforward event may morph into an elaborate philosophical puzzle. It's like wading through a fog created by your own intellect, where clarity becomes a luxury. Yet, this depth isn't a curse, it's also a superpower. Some of history's greatest minds, think Einstein, Da Vinci, and Jung, were champions of deep thinking. They had a knack for spotting invisible connections that escaped the casual observer, spinning ideas into inspiring concepts that changed the world. Their inquiries about why things are the way they are led them to revelations others were oblivious to, enlightening the path for generations to come. Unfortunately, in today's fast-paced society, deep thinking often gets the cold shoulder. While our world buzzes with demands for speed and efficiency, a moment of reflection can be mistaken for indecision. Deep thinkers frequently feel pressure to fit molds, nodding in agreement when their minds are elsewhere. As conversations rush past, their real dialogue ignites internally, where questions bubble up and creativity thrives. After the crowd disperses, that's when the magic truly begins, within the uncharted depths of their vibrant, questioning minds. Deep thinkers often walk a solitary path, searching for genuine connections that transcend surface-level interactions. They yearn for relationships that allow for absolute vulnerability, yet not everyone is eager to wade into those deep waters. Instead of diving in, deep thinkers remain cautious and observant, waiting for kindred spirits to reveal their own depths. Once they find someone who matches their emotional intensity, they fling open the doors of their minds, unreservedly sharing their innermost fears and dreams without holding back. But this bravery has its pitfalls. Deep thinkers tend to perceive the world in shades of grey, developing a belief that others share their perspective. They anticipate honesty and integrity in all interactions, which unfortunately isn't always the case. When their expectations clash with reality, the resulting disappointment can feel monumental. It's not that they're fragile. Rather, they've invested tremendous emotional weight into their connections. A tiny betrayal can seem catastrophic, while a sprinkle of kindness can reignite their faith in humanity. For these contemplative souls, every emotion resonates deeply, turning them into emotional sponges. They absorb the subtleties that most overlook, like that fleeting moment when someone avoids your gaze or the laughter that lingers for only a heartbeat. They're tuned into the vibes of promises made, even while the other party's thoughts are already racing toward tomorrow's distractions. They perceive not just what is, but what could have been, which can be both a gift and a burden. There's a nugget of wisdom in psychology known as depth processing, which explains how these individuals infuse experiences with layers of meaning and emotional ties. Memories don't merely exist as moments stuck in time, they blossom into rich ecosystems of sentiment. That's why nostalgia hits them like a freight train, transporting them back to a version of life that feels tantalizingly out of reach. Just one song can plunge them into a reverie, resurfacing memories they'd rather not revisit. This intense emotional experience isn't just a quirk, it's wired into their very brains. Research shows that deep thinkers have robust neural connections linking their emotional and analytical faculties, allowing them to feel and think simultaneously. This is why shutting off their thoughts is like trying to bail out the ocean with a bucket. Impossible. Their emotional landscape intertwines seamlessly with their thought processes, creating a rich tapestry of experience that others sometimes find bewildering. Often, people misinterpret deep thinkers as being distant or overly dramatic. In reality, they possess a heightened awareness of the intricacies of human experience. They recognize the camouflage of emotions, seeing how disappointment can masquerade as anger, or how love often hides behind a wall of pride. This remarkable clarity opens their eyes to the hidden structures beneath everyday interactions, and once they've glimpsed this complexity, reverting to simplicity is a tall order. Thus, deep thinkers navigate a tumultuous emotional terrain, where every interaction has depth, and every nuance carries weight. They cultivate connections that resonate on a deep frequency, while simultaneously wrestling with the complexity of their perceptions. The result is a life filled with profound connections sprinkled with moments of stark disappointment. In their world, nothing is trivial. Every thought and feeling takes on a life of its own, and they can't help but dive beneath the surface to explore its depths. Deep thinkers reside in the intricate maze of their thoughts, often losing themselves in timelines of what was, what is, and what could be. Their minds turn past adventures into endless reruns, present circumstances into complex equations of analysis, and futures into a whirlwind of hypothetical scenarios. It's a tiring, yet enchanting process. Their ability to extract beauty from chaos brings forth resilience. For these thinkers, every tinge of suffering transforms into a lesson, a glimmer of information about themselves and the world they navigate. Yet, the crux of their journey is learning to hit the brakes on that incessant mental treadmill. It's a battle against the urge to dissect every situation and find meaning in every nuance of life. The frustrating discovery is that some answers refuse to reveal themselves, no matter how hard they chase them down. Ultimately, they confront the paradox that meaning isn't something to be unearthed. Instead, it's a canvas they paint with their own experiences and perceptions. That irony serves them well, gifting peace that flows from simply being in the moment. Picture a deep thinker immersed in their unique ruminations. Recognition of their profound mindset often comes not from what they declare, but from the silence that precedes their thoughts. It's in those cautious pauses, where layers of contemplation linger, that the magic happens. Rather than stumbling over hurried phrases, they sift through ideas with a meticulosity that reflects their value of communication. Their words, akin to precious gems, are chosen carefully, pushing through the noise of unthoughtful chatter. With this meticulous approach, deep thinkers aren't merely listening, they're tuning in to the symphony of unexpressed signals. Their heightened empathy allows them to decipher nuances, from body language to the unvoiced sentiments lurking beneath everyday conversations. Just like gifted detectives, they collect emotional clues and can sense what's off-kilter. This perceptivity enhances connections but also casts a shadow, as they uncover stark realities dissonant with societal norms. This newfound clarity shifts their perception of the world. No longer do they seek superficial validation, but rather crave authenticity. They are naturally drawn to art, philosophy, and solitary pursuits, not out of avoidance but as a means of piecing together life's intricate puzzle. Within the pages of books or through the notes of a haunting melody, they find solace, and without judgment, their minds can roam freely, nurturing ideas that provoke deeper connections. However, beneath their insightful exterior lies a tumultuous sea of mental noise. The depth of their thinking often leads to an overwhelming cacophony, akin to being bombarded by multiple radio stations dashing for attention. Despite their yearning for quietude, it's within silence that their thoughts become amplified, racing through memories, theories, and unresolved questions. For them, attempts at rest can morph into a ripple of rumination, where clarity remains an elusive prize. The hilarious paradox unfolds as they balance profound insight with challenges that come from living in their heads. They may even relish the whirlwind of thoughts, learning to float rather than sink. In a world that often prizes simplicity and closure, deep thinkers remind us that sometimes it's acceptable to wade through uncertainty, embracing the crucial lesson that depth isn't about drowning in contemplations, but rather discovering the grace to just drift serenely through the chaos. Deep thinkers often find themselves caught in a whirlwind of thoughts about problems, feelings, or past mistakes. While it may seem like a downer, these ponderings aren't necessarily negative. For them, it's all about finding resolution and understanding the chaos around them. However, life's biggest lesson can be learning that not all questions have tidy answers. Sometimes, embracing the unknown can be just as enlightening as having the facts. The philosopher who uttered, "I think, therefore I am," might have sounded wise, but for deep thinkers, it's a double-edged sword. It brings validation to their existence but can easily trap them in exhaustive thought loops. They dissect love until it feels overly clinical and analyze fear until it's just an algorithm. In doing so, they often forget the simple beauty of experiencing emotions purely. Discovering the balance between thought and feeling is crucial for them. Life gets truly exciting for deep thinkers when they learn to use their reasoning to support their emotions, instead of letting one overshadow the other. This balancing act transforms them into worldly sages, knitting together logic and empathy in a beautifully complex way. They can approach pain with scrutiny and still exhibit compassion, embracing the messiness of humanity while choosing the path of love. Such understanding evolves into a unique wisdom, allowing them to appreciate life's intricacies. Beyond the enigmatic facade, deep thinkers don't see people as mere heroes or villains. To them, everyone has a narrative filled with unseen struggles. They forgive swiftly but remember the lessons individuals imparted, cradling those insights like treasures. This nuanced awareness of beauty intertwined with sorrow can lead to a melancholy perceived by surface dwellers. Yet it's really a poignant appreciation of life's depth, where joy and grief waltz together in a soulful dance. One surprising twist. Deep thinkers often possess a delightful sense of humor. Recognizing life's absurdities, their laughter emerges as a form of wisdom. They chuckle not from apathy, but because they appreciate how fragile existence can be. Sometimes, the only response to life's pandemonium is a good belly laugh, a coping mechanism that keeps their spirits buoyant amidst chaos. Yet, despite this, they may often come off as enigmatic and hard to interpret. Given their rich inner worlds, deep thinkers can sometimes seem distant or lost in thought. No, they're not tuning you out. They're simply multitasking in their minds, unpacking layers of your words. Understanding intention, tone, and emotion takes precedence in their minds. When connections are lost, or when they feel misunderstood, They retreat for self-protection, not out of arrogance. Beneath that calm facade lies a torrent of emotions, making their sensitivity both a gift and a curse. In the face of emotional overload, deep thinkers require time alone. Think of it as a detox for the spirit. They seek solitude to recharge, whether through reading, journaling, or simply daydreaming out of a window. This peaceful retreat isn't loneliness, it's restoration, a sacred space where clarity can be found away from the noise. Here, they reconnect with the quiet truths lurking within, revealing insights that may have been overshadowed by external chaos. Ultimately, the healthiest deep thinkers ground themselves in mindfulness and creative pursuits. They develop ways to translate their rich inner landscapes into tangible expressions, whether through art, poetry, or meaningful conversations. They realize that the beauty of deep thought is not to escape reality, but to enhance it, enriching their lives and the lives of those around them with their unique insights and understanding. Deep thinkers are like a refreshing splash of cold water in a world that often settles for lukewarm. They don't just take things at face value, they dive deep, questioning customs, societal norms, and those age-old "we've always done it this way" assumptions. Their inquisitive nature may raise eyebrows or stir up a bit of rebellion, but it's rooted in genuine compassion. They care enough to ask big questions like, why? And does this still hold water? Their quest for truth is essentially a love letter to curiosity. Navigating through life with such a curious mindset can create a delightful mess, though. When you see the world through multiple lenses, it's tough to take a definitive stance. You empathize with everyone's pain, realizing that hurt often breeds more hurt. No one is entirely right or wrong, and suddenly, the world transforms into a beautiful maze of complexity. This is the bittersweet burden of empathy, making quick judgments all but impossible. Those deep thinkers often feel like round pegs in a world full of square holes, where certainty trumps nuance. In an era of hot takes and instant opinions, deep thinkers are the ones who pause. They don't hold back out of indifference. Rather, it's that their hearts are so big, they weigh every word before letting it slip out. They understand the power of what they say. Each word is a careful brushstroke on the canvas of conversation. Sometimes, those thoughtful pauses speak volumes louder than a torrent of empty chatter, capturing the essence of their contemplative worldview. If you cherish a deep thinker in your life, you'll find they prioritize understanding over simple agreement. They aren't trying to convert you to their way of thinking, they just want to explore the labyrinth of thoughts together. It's a journey of curiosity, where the love language is steeped in asking questions and sincerely understanding one another. That intense gaze they give when they remember those little things? Yeah, that's them valuing you beyond the surface. But beware, dear friend. Deep thinkers are not spontaneous lovers. They don't expose their hearts to just anyone. Trust is something they cultivate like a bonsai tree, slowly and carefully. They'll probe the depths of your intentions just as they do their own thoughts, quietly monitoring your sincerity. When they finally lower their walls, consider it a sacred honor. They don't fall easily, but when they do, it's a head-over-heels plunge into a conscious kind of love. Their existence serves as a reminder that life isn't merely a series of checked boxes. Deep thinkers embrace the sacredness of silence, encouraging us to pause and reflect rather than drown in constant noise. They show us that mystery has its own charm, and being curious should never be mistaken for weakness. In fact, it reveals profound wonder, nudging us to explore what lies beneath the surface. Ultimately, deep thinkers remind us that within everyone lies a reservoir of depth waiting to be tapped into. Life's hustle can make us forget how impactful stillness can be. Perhaps that's their calling, to press pause on our dizzying pace and reflect that meaningful thought is an act of love. Cherishing the world and its imperfections becomes their anthem, and they invite us to stand in awe of life's intricacies alongside them. So, deep thinkers, don't dull your shine to fit into smaller conversations or suppress your thoughts in the chaos of modern life. The world needs that glimmer of depth you bring. You might be perceived as different, but that's precisely your gift. You are here to transform chaos into clarity, and mere moments into meaningful experiences. Deep thinking isn't merely a cerebral pursuit, it's a glorious celebration of existence itself.